I'm Robert at Tennessee Silencer, and this is our Bren Mark II, and we're going to shoot it, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. All right, cool. So, as I said, this is a Bren Mark II. A lot of people can tell kind of what it is just by looking at it. It's got this really curved magazine. It's even more curved than an AK-47. The reason is it shoots .303 British, which is a rimmed cartridge. So you have to have they have a pretty big taper from front to back. So to be able to feed reliably, you need to have that curved magazine. One other feature of the Bren gun is it's super easy to mount on vehicles and tripods. You might need to come over here. So this is not an original mount, but you can see how it works. So the receiver's got a little lever. Pull this pin out. And you can take it right off. So a lot of times they would have used these things with a bipod on the ground. But they also had a lot of these mounted on Jeeps, on Bren gun carriers, which was like a little tiny tank almost that was designed specifically for carrying these and mortars and other small arm systems. Cool thing about these guys is, like I said, they're top loading. So a lot of people think that they're like inferior to like a belt-fed machine gun, but actually they have you can keep a pretty high rate of fire with these things. So they're an open bolt. When it runs empty, it has these cool tabs on the magazine that lock the bolt open. Keep it cocked basically. So you go to shoot this thing, pa 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 pa. You run out of bullets, the gun stays cocked. So if you get your last bullet, it stays cocked. Trigger won't work anymore. You take your hand, you pop the release, you get your next one, and rock it in place. And as soon as it's rocked in, you're good to go. So if you do it pretty regular, it doesn't take too long, especially if your handle's out of the way. And you know, if you got a group of 10 or 15 dudes who all have a Bren gun mag or two, you can put through bullets nearly as fast as a belt fed. The other cool thing about this thing, comparing it to like a belt fed of its day, this one has a quick change barrel. So like the American 1919, the BAR, neither of those had a quick change barrel. The way you change a barrel in this thing, so assuming the bolt is open, which, like I said, the bolt stays open even when you're out of bullets with this gun because of the magazine. Flip your handle up. You've got a tab here. You pop the barrel tab, pull forward, and it comes right out of there. All right, so let's talk about some do's and don'ts of the Bren gun. I would say the biggest don't, do not put your hand right under the ejection port. So there's a big ejection port. It throws it out of the bottom just like an M240 or a Mag 58, whatever you call it. It pushes them in from the magazine, they fire, and it flings them out the bottom. And it flings them really hard. Just about every one of them that comes out of there has a nice little ding in the top. And if your hand is under there, or if your hand is close to it and it bounces off of something first, you don't want your hand under there, let's put it that way. When you're cocking it, it is an open bolt, so you always cock it firmly to the rear. Make sure you don't cock it just enough to not catch the sear and let it fire on its own. Everything on the top here is hot always, so like if you see me, this barrel change handle looks really sort of warm and inviting, like you can just grab the whole thing, but the barrel is right underneath it, so it gets hot. So you'll see me kind of pop it from the other side. It's got a little clicky button there to lock it in place. You see me pop it in from that side, and then whenever you seat it, you got to firm its seat. Some of these barrels are tighter than others. Some of these barrels are almost so tight that you have to, you almost want a hammer to close that down. This is a relatively new gun, so it will, everything's pretty tight on it still. This is a re-weld from Historic Arms. He makes amazing Bren guns. If you're gonna have a Bren gun done, I would have Len at Historic Arms do it for you. Okay, we talked about some of the don'ts. Now it's time for the do's. So when you're taking a magazine off, what I like to do is hit it with one motion, both the button and grab the magazine at once. Takes a little practice. The other thing you want to do is rock it way aggressively down in there. It's almost easier if you flop that out of the way. Latch it in and then rock it back with a little bit of authority. The other thing is you don't want to leave the charging handle back. A lot of people want to rack the bolt back, and it doesn't have any way to bring it forward unless you push it forward. If you don't bring it forward, it's a possibility that the bolt might not have enough speed to light off the round. So you're better off just go ahead and always push it forward and it'll click in place. The other thing that you might want to do, if you're going to shoot it off the tripod, or off the bipod, I should say, off a vehicle mount, you have this really cool built-in foregrip. So you rock that, you pull on it, rock it down, it locks in place, and now you have Bren gun on the go, and you can do walking fire with it. Here we go. All right, pop it back. It's actually a pretty comfortable way to shoot. And you know, you can't look down your sights, but this gun is so heavy and all of this can potentially get really hot pretty quick. And like I said, you don't put your hand under here. So this is actually, you know, if you were going to shoot from the shoulder, that's one way to do it. Although it's heavy, you can't do that real long. But this is probably, if you're, say, 100 yards and in, this is probably your most accurate way of shooting if you're not going to be a prone. So I hope you enjoyed our video on our British Bren gun here at Tennessee Silencer. If you want to shoot this gun, you can. We rent this gun out every day here at the store. Just come out here to Seymour, Tennessee and give it a shot. Hope to see you soon. All right.